what's really behind feeling energized, mentally clear, and generally well? Why do some people stay healthy and full of energy even past 70, while others feel constantly tired by the time they turn 30? And is it really true that there are simple habits that help the body function smoothly, without strict diets or medications? In this video, we'll talk about 10 habits that help many people maintain their health without extreme restrictions or rigid routines. These are habits we've incorporated into our own lives. We'll go over which ones are easy to adopt even with a busy schedule and how exactly they can be beneficial. But before we start, just a quick reminder. It's always best to discuss any lifestyle changes with your doctor, especially if you have a medical condition or take prescription medications. Habit 1. Let's start with one of the simplest yet often underestimated habits: a glass of warm water first thing in the morning. Overnight, the body loses fluids through breathing, through the skin, and through evaporation. We don't really notice it, but even without physical activity, we wake up slightly dehydrated. And some people go straight for coffee or strong tea, both of which have a diuretic effect. In other words, they don't replenish fluids, but actually encourage further loss. Drinking water on an empty stomach gently wakes up the stomach and intestines, preparing them for food. It stimulates receptors in the mucous lining, activates peristalsis, and even helps with saliva and digestive juice production. It's not a cure or a magic pill, but for many people, it's a habit that improves overall well-being. Within 10 to 15 minutes, you might feel more awake, mentally clearer, even lighter. Some people prefer to add a bit of lemon or a few drops of apple cider vinegar to the water, but it's important to consider your individual sensitivities and always check with your doctor first, especially if you have gastritis or other digestive issues. Also, the water temperature matters. Cold water can trigger spasms, especially in people with sensitive digestion. Warm water, close to body temperature, is absorbed more easily and feels more comfortable. It doesn't stress the stomach or slow down metabolic processes. Habit 2. So what's next? Once your body has received that first bit of hydration, it's time to get moving. And this doesn't mean a full workout or complicated exercises. Just a few minutes of gentle stretching, light movement, or breathing exercises can have a noticeable effect. This is especially helpful for people who wake up feeling stiff, heavy, or slightly swollen. When we move after sleeping, blood flow improves. Tissues get more oxygen, and the lymphatic system gets activated. This helps reduce stagnation, especially in the legs and pelvic area. Breathing exercises, meanwhile, improve diaphragm function and boost oxygen delivery to the brain. All of this impacts your mood and energy levels throughout the day. Interestingly, even basic forward bends, shoulder rolls, or joint mobility exercises can make a difference. The key is to move at your own pace without straining. Many people say that after these morning rituals, they breathe easier, feel looser in their movements, and even notice a drop in anxiety levels. Habit 3. Now, let's talk about breakfast. It's a topic that sparks a lot of debate. Some say it's the most important meal of the day. Others skip it in favor of intermittent fasting. And the truth is, there's no single rule for everyone. But if you do eat breakfast, it should give you energy, not overload your system, and not cause blood sugar spikes. It's important that your morning meal includes protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Why? Protein keeps you full and helps your body recover. Fiber supports gut function and smooth digestion. And fats, especially from plant sources, help regulate hormones and keep you feeling full for longer. There are many options: an omelet with greens and whole grain toast, quinoa or buckwheat porridge with nuts, plain yogurt with berries and chia seeds. Some people add a little avocado or sautéed vegetables. The key is to avoid overly sugary foods on an empty stomach. Simple carbs give a quick energy boost, but then comes the crash, fatigue, and hunger. You should also pay attention to portion size. Breakfast shouldn't be too heavy, but it shouldn't be too light either. If you have a busy day ahead, physically or mentally, a light, balanced breakfast can help you get into a productive rhythm. But if you're not hungry in the morning, maybe your body just needs a little time. By the way, how do you like to start your day? Share your breakfast ideas in the comments. Let us know what helps you feel your best in the morning. Your routine might inspire someone else. Habit 4. Now, let's move on to one of the most subtle but increasingly essential habits: filtering information. These days, our brains are constantly being stimulated. News, social media, messaging apps, phone notifications, it all bombards the nervous system. And even if we don't feel overwhelmed on the surface, the body responds to this constant stream as if it were stress. When someone wakes up and immediately checks their phone, reads the news, checks emails, or scrolls through their feed, the brain shifts into alert mode, especially if the content sparks an emotional reaction. And that's exactly how the algorithms work. They show us what's likely to trigger us. Over the course of a day, we might experience hundreds of these micro-stressors. This hidden noise becomes background stress that keeps the brain from resting, disrupts focus, and may trigger irritability or fatigue. Some experts even refer to it as information inflammation, where constant exposure to data creates chronic nervous system tension. Over time, it can affect cortisol levels, sleep quality, and even the immune system. Some people find it helpful to turn off notifications, limit news to 1 or 2 trusted sources, and avoid mindless scrolling. Even just one evening without your phone can feel surprisingly refreshing. This might be one of the most invisible habits, but it makes a real difference for both mental and physical health. Habit 5. Now we ease into the topic of sleep. It might seem routine, but it's actually the foundation of recovery. Sleep isn't just about rest. During this time, hormones are regulated, the immune system kicks in, and brain cells renew. When your sleep schedule is off, the whole body can suffer. A common pattern is chronic sleep deprivation during the week and trying to catch up on the weekend. But research shows that this approach often disrupts your circadian rhythm. The body doesn't have time to adjust, and instead of recovering, you end up even more out of sync. Melatonin production gets thrown off, falling asleep becomes harder, and you wake up feeling groggy. It's not just how much you sleep, but also how consistent your sleep cycle is. For some people, waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, helps stabilize their internal clock. Light exposure matters too. Bright screens before bed interfere with melatonin release. Diet can also play a role. Heavy meals late at night can lower sleep quality. If you're having trouble falling asleep or waking up, let us know in the comments. If there's interest, we'll create a separate video where we share what's helped our team members improve their sleep routines. Habit 6. Let's talk a bit about movement. Walking isn't just a way to get from home to the store. Even short, active walks have a wide range of benefits. First, they help reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone. Second, they support the production of dopamine and serotonin, chemicals that improve mood and support mental well-being. It's especially important to walk outside, in natural daylight. This helps synchronize your internal biological clock and supports vitamin D production. In many countries and regions, vitamin D deficiency is one of the most common findings during medical checkups. It plays a role not just in calcium metabolism, but also in immune function, skin health, and mood. Some people find a short morning walk helpful. Even 10 to 15 minutes can set the tone for the entire day. Others prefer walking in the evening to release tension and prepare for sleep. The key is to find your own rhythm. And if you're unsure whether you should check your vitamin D levels, talk to your doctor. A deficiency might be one reason you're not feeling your best. Now, let's move on to the next important topic: eating habits. But this isn't about what we eat, it's about when and in what order. It turns out even the sequence of how we eat foods can noticeably affect blood sugar levels and overall well-being. If you start a meal with vegetables that are high in fiber and then move on to the main course, the absorption of carbohydrates may slow down. This can help reduce blood sugar spikes and prevent that post-meal sleepiness. It's especially helpful for those who are prone to blood sugar fluctuations or have insulin sensitivity. Interestingly, even familiar meals can be rearranged. For example, start lunch with a salad, then eat the protein portion, and only after that have the side dish. This simple shift helps many people feel better after eating without that heavy, sluggish feeling. What about sweets? It's not always realistic to give them up completely, but even then, it helps to remember that dessert is absorbed differently when eaten after a full meal compared to an empty stomach. And if you have a bit of protein or vegetables before something sweet, the glycemic load decreases. That small change can make a difference in how stable you feel afterwards. Let us know in the comments, have you ever noticed a connection between the order of your meals and your energy levels afterwards? Habit 8.
Another important factor is our social environment. The people we spend time with don't just influence our conversations or mood, they also affect our habits, our views on health, and our overall lifestyle. Observations show that in groups where it's normal to take care of yourself, stay physically active, and choose healthy food, others are more likely to follow the same patterns. It's not always a conscious choice. It's often just copying what's considered normal in your circle. Sometimes, all it takes is having someone nearby who supports you or simply tries to live mindfully themselves. It could be a close friend, a coworker, a neighbor, or a family member. Support lowers stress and boosts motivation to make changes. On the other hand, constant interaction with people who react negatively to any attempts at lifestyle changes can hold you back. This isn't always intentional. Often it's just their own internal resistance showing. It's worth asking yourself, who are you usually surrounded by? What kinds of conversations do you have? What do you consider normal? Sometimes it helps to step outside your usual social circle by joining a fitness group, taking a course, or simply participating in an online community where health and support are valued. Habit 9. Now, let's talk about a habit that's often underestimated: learning. Keeping the brain active isn't just about reading textbooks. New information, whether it's from a book, podcast, lecture, or even a board game, activates your neurons. And the more you switch on your brain, the longer it stays adaptable. This is especially important as we age, because a lack of cognitive activity becomes a risk factor for dementia and other neurodegenerative conditions. But variety matters here. Learning a language, picking up a musical instrument, even drawing or trying new recipes, all of it activates different parts of the brain. It doesn't require big investments. What it does require is consistency and curiosity. Learning also helps shift your focus away from anxious thoughts, reduces stress levels, and can even improve sleep. Another plus is that learning often brings people together. Classes, clubs, and hobby groups all create new connections, which brings us back to the role of community and social engagement. By the way, if you're curious about how to keep your brain healthy at any age, let us know in the comments. We'll definitely make a video on that topic if you're interested. Habit 10. The final but no less important habit is learning to recognize and reduce inflammation. Chronic inflammation isn't just redness or pain, like we usually imagine. It can be hidden and show up as fatigue, irritability, digestive issues, or trouble sleeping. Sometimes it develops over years and becomes a background condition that leads to disease. The body deals with many triggers every day, from overeating and sleep deprivation to air pollution and psychological stress. All of these can activate inflammatory processes. On their own, these responses aren't harmful. They're part of our natural defense system. But when inflammation doesn't resolve, it begins to damage tissues and organs. There are many ways to help the body restore balance, and it's not just about food, it's about the whole lifestyle. Regular moderate physical activity improves circulation and lowers inflammatory markers. Sleep restores hormonal balance. time in nature, silence, fresh air. All of this impacts immune system function. Even just watching trees or water can reduce cortisol levels. Even small changes to your daily habits can influence inflammation. And while the effect may not be immediate, over time, the accumulated improvements become noticeable. Listen to yourself, pay attention to your body, and don't ignore the signals it sends. And if symptoms persist, this is a reason to talk to your doctor and find the right kind of support. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone who also wants to feel better. Hit the like button so we know the topic resonates with you. And make sure to subscribe. We've got lots more videos coming about health, nutrition, sleep, energy, and much more. In the comments, tell us about your own top 10 healthy habits. And if you have a question or a topic you'd like us to explore, leave a comment and we'll create a dedicated episode for it. Take care and see you soon.